Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for live full-time reaction to St Mirren 0, Celtic 4. I'm joined tonight by Chris and Callum. This is the live format. As you know, you can ask your questions and leave your comments in the live chat box below. We'll try and pick out some good ones as we go through. Chris, a really comfortable win in the end tonight. Controlled the game, I thought. We've not had many performances as scare-free as that this season. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought it was an accomplished performance throughout the 90 minutes. I don't even think we really got out of first or second gear, to be honest. And it's not like we had wave after wave of attack. We were somewhat sloppy with the ball at times in and out of possession. But, we took our goals really well when they came later in the game, which I know we'll come to. But just wasn't St Mirren, to be honest, didn't really play very well. Nothing like they did a couple of weeks ago when they beat us at Celtic Park. But it was nice to have a comfortable win and not really have to feel like the game was ever in doubt. I can't say I've had that feeling many times this year watching Celtic, but I definitely felt it tonight for the first time in a while. So maybe that's a positive sign. The other thing I would say is Lennon has not changed the lineup for the last 3 games, and he has been able to get a level of performance that's probably a bit more satisfactory for him and perhaps us as the supporters since the loss to St Mirren at home.
Yeah. Callum, Tom Rogic back in the team. I know you're a big fan. Scored a great opening goal tonight. 1-2 with John Joe Kenny off the throw-in. And you just knew entering the box at that angle, you knew exactly what was going to happen next, didn't you?
Aye, it's very reminiscent of a lot of the goals that he gets in a Celtic shirt. He usually, as soon as the goal just opens up the space, you know he's going to try and go for that corner. Whether it's top corner or bottom corner, he's very good at it. Ryan Christie does similar as well. Obviously, his goal's very similar to it as well. I actually thought that the first half was very to watch. Even though we were in control, and I thought that St Mirren were actually the better footballing side. I believe that they were the better footballing side. They could pass the ball. I thought we had a lot of lazy passes where it was trying to do 1-2s and it just wasn't there. It wasn't working. We couldn't really hold on to the ball in the first 15 minutes. I thought St Mirren were just by far the better team. I just don't think they had enough to really hurt us, even though they beat us, ironically, only 13 days ago at Celtic Park. But I just don't think that they were at it in full. And if you look at the shots, I think the goalkeeper, Scott Bain, had nothing to do, and neither did never really had much. That tells you pretty much how the game went in the middle of the park. It was very scrappy, just end to end, but no really shots in that full first half. So the fact that we got a goal was obviously was good to get in the lead. It's very tough when you longer the game goes. It's now how many times we've seen it this season. It goes 0-0 and we just start panicking, and all of a sudden a team pops up with a goal. So it was good. It was a very good finish for Rogic, but I think there was a lot to improve on because Chris covered it. We never get out of first gear at all, and this season we've been in that position so many times, and that's why we're so far behind in the league. Simply down to we've been stuck in first gear for pretty much the season.
Yeah, Chris, I think we were wasteful in possession. Certainly in the first half, the game did just kind of. I thought it was typical of games away at St Mirren. I think a lot of the time when we go away at St Mirren, we do control the game, but it's a really small pitch. We tend to struggle to create a lot of clear-cut chances, lacking width tonight as well, obviously with the formation, which has been a problem for us all season. But we just were a bit wasteful towards the end of that first half with the possession that we had.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like you say, that the St Mirren pitch is very narrow, and actually it was quite shocking the state of the pitch too. The ball was bobbling all over the place. It was hard to get the ball down and really move it around with any authority. And Celtic, when we have played well in fits and starts this year, it's been about how quickly we move off the ball, quick passes, those triangles where we can manipulate the space and get in behind and really penetrate the other teams. But we just haven't done that with any level of consistency this year. Even if St Mirren got the ball back after we were wasteful, they were equally as wasteful. They didn't really test us at all in the first half and probably over the piece of the game, which is really why we could stay in first gear and didn't really have to worry about, any consistent level of attack from their perspective. So, I think St Mirren will be disappointed with their performance because of how well they played a couple of weeks ago. And I do wonder if they'd come out with the same level of intensity as they did a couple of weeks ago. If we had played like that tonight again, could have been a different result, but I'm certainly happy to get a 4-0 win.
Yeah, Callum, something that we did see towards the end of that first half and early in the second half was Christopher Ajer marauding forward. We know he likes to bring the ball out for defence. He had a great run actually towards the end of the first half where he was absolutely raging because he overran into the goalkeeper's hands. But that's a big asset for us in terms of trying to break teams down in small pitches like that, having a defender that can bring the ball out. What do you think of his performance tonight, and are you resigned to losing him this summer?
First of all, he's definitely going, especially after this season. I mean, even if we won the league, to be fair as well, he was still going. There's a big change no matter how the league panned out this year. We all know that. Obviously, we're on the worst side of it. But Ajer's definitely going. I still think he's got some obviously learning to do. He's not the full accomplished player, and I don't think that he'll get a top club. I don't even think he would get a top 10 club in the likes of the Premier League. I still think he needs to mature a lot. Sometimes he can get caught at the back, but tonight I thought he was really good. You covered it, Paul. He reminds you, and I don't want to get carried away here, so I'm not getting clipped. He's no Van Dijk, but it reminds you when we had Van Dijk, especially at McDiarmid Park. When well, there you go, since Van Dijk, he would do the runs that just nobody could get near him, and he's such a specimen of a man. He's so built for his age, and there's not many people that can touch him. And the comment that you're talking about there, with that chance, he actually nutmegs the centre back when he gets near enough to the goal, and then he just gets stuck with the ball at his feet. He doesn't have a clue. He's thinking, I don't know what to do, and he's so angry inside. And that's the game where he needs to just develop that next part of his game to become an all-round great defender. So I am definitely renowned, sadly, to let him go, because if you take him out of the team, Paul, I mean, it speaks for itself this season. We've had Duffy Beaton, we've had Julian Beaton Ajer. It's been such a change. Then young Welsh, and obviously tonight getting injured. This season has just not went at all the way we wanted it, and every possible error that could have came up has came up, and more that we could ever have expected. So I will be resigned to losing him in the summer. So we'll get a pretty penny for him as well, to be fair. I still think he's got 18 months left in his contract, if I'm right. So we need to cash in on him. And look, I wish him all the best. He's been very good for Celtic. He's worked out well. And when he came into the club, remember, he went to Kilmarnock on loan. So he might have thought to himself, this isn't going to work out. I'm getting sent out on loan. And also came for IK Stark in Norway from Ronnie Dyler. So I also need to thank my praise to him for giving us a player of the quality that he's now given us, because he's probably going to get you in the market anywhere between 10 to 15 million pounds probably, and then a sell-on clause. So again, we're making an absolute money maker on that. So it's sad to see him go, but it's time for maybe somebody like Welsh to get regular football. Yeah,
he's not away yet, mate. He's not away yet. I think the thing that we forget sometimes about Ajer is that he's only 22. Sometimes you think that the size of him, the stature of him, that and the way he plays, the way he performs, that he's a great deal older than that. But there's a lot of players some players in the squad that are 22, and they don't have the sort of levels that Christopher Ajer has at that age. Chris's partner, centre half tonight, Stephen Welsh, just came in and done really well. So gutting to see him going off with that ankle injury. It looked a bad one. It's a poor tackle by Obika, and you can just see that he went over in his ankle. Hopefully he's not out for too long, but he's done well since he's come in for a young player, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I do like him. He's not tall in terms of like your traditional central defender, but he's very agile. I think he reads the game really well for a young player. I've been impressed with that part of his game so far. He's generally pretty calm. I didn't think he was necessarily having his best game tonight compared to the last couple of games where I had thought he was excellent. Obviously scoring his first goal for Celtic on the weekend there against Motherwell. But yeah, the tackle was just really unfortunate. It was a yellow card, nothing more. But the momentum of Obika just meant that he rolled over that ankle. And they put him in the preventative brace. I'd be surprised if it's a fracture, but if it's a ligament injury, then it's actually worse than a fracture, because ligaments can be so difficult to recover from. because you really can't get back, to any kind of level of training and fitness. And then it's just about your mobility. And with the season literally only having a little over 2 and a bit months to go, could be that he might not make it back. I hope it's nothing serious. I hope you're right, Paul, because he's definitely a player for the future. And just a real quick point on Ajer, like I do expect as well, like Callum says, he'll leave. He's like a triple threat. He's fantastic along the ground, really quick. He reads the game well, and he can break the ball out from the back, get through the midfield, like 15, 20 strides, he's up the park. So I actually think, Callum, you're undervaluing him. If Frimpong's going for 11 million, and Ajer's been our best player this year, in my opinion, he's the Celtic player of the year if you were asking me now, it would literally be, he could be 20, 25 million based on the current market, but that's just my opinion.
Aye, I mean, that's a tough one for the end of the season. A player of the year for this nightmare. Callum, another quiet game for Ajeti tonight. What do you make of his performance?
I mean, I don't think he got much support, as I covered. The first half I thought was dreadful. I really, even though we went in leading, I didn't think it was a great half. The two strikers up top for me is just disjointed. They've played a couple of times now together, so not fully judging them. But let's be honest, Edouard is away at the end of this season, so and Ajeti will be at the club next season. So he's trying something out, and these two players know that one's away and one's staying, so there's just not that connection there. Klimala keeps coming off the bench. He's our most used sub this season. It's not really worked out for him either. Nobody's really got a good run. Hopefully this is a run, but I don't think he done overwhelmingly great. But then again, he was only on the park for 60, 65, and I don't think that he get much support up there because I didn't think we played well in the first half at all. 4-0 definitely flatters us. There's no getting about it. If you haven't watched that game, get in for your work tonight and saying 4-0, you think good. There's some pluses there. Go and watch the game and you'll see that St Mirren kind of folded very, very quickly, and we scored 3 goals in the space of 4 minutes. So I thought he played all right, but nothing brilliant. So hopefully he can become better, because he can hold the ball up actually really well. That's probably his strongest asset. He's very good for the size of him. Because you see when Griffiths came on, he struggled to hold the ball up against the boy at the back. So yeah, he's got that in his locker, but he needs to, I don't know, just there's something about this season that's just, I don't know, it's hard to find positives.
Aye. Chris, what have you made of Ajeti the past few weeks? You haven't been on since he's had this little run of games.
Honestly, there is a player in there, but like that comment just said, he is the type of player that goes missing in a game. He does. Like, that's actually a fantastic comment there by JJ. He does. He goes missing in a game. There'll be large periods where you're not even aware that he's on the park. Yet his hold-up play at times can be excellent, right? He's got his ability to hold up the ball when it comes into feet. He'll turn, gets it into midfield. And we've seen in fits and starts from him that he's a poacher. He's a poacher's player, right? He gets right in the 6-yard box. Like when he had those run of goals earlier in the season, he's a real penalty box goal scorer. But he's been either injury prone and self-confessed fitness problems. So I don't know necessarily if it's 5 million wasted yet. I'd like to see him be given an extended run in the team before I really pass judgment. But I do think there's a player and a goal scorer in there. I really do.
As I say, I think he is a goal scorer, but I think his last 2 games, he has been quiet, struggling to get into the game, not a lot of service, maybe, but I think his sharpness is still some way off it. Callum, would you expect Klimala's off the bench before Griffiths again tonight? Would you expect a change there? Maybe Klimala to start on Sunday at St Johnstone, or Griffiths back up there with Edouard?
I think he'll probably go with the same team, Paul, that he's went for the last 2 games. I think he'll start with Ajeti again, and it would be a bit of a shame if he did change it, because then what is that telling you about Ajeti? He's getting 2-3 games in a run and he's out the team, and that's it's been like that all season. It's been chopped and changed in every single area. You can talk about the goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders. I was going to say wingers, but we don't even have wingers at the club. So strikers, it's just been such a chop change season. I would expect a Ajeti, but it was a strange one that Klimala get in front of Lee Griffiths, because Lee Griffiths got his run and got his goals, and then all of a sudden and obviously the rumours go about with him and Lennon, but to be the fourth choice striker when only maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago he was the number one up front with Edouard is, I don't really get it. So there's going to be big change in the summer with a lot of players in and out of the club, and we'll need to see who that leaves us with, especially the players out on loan as well. I've seen Bio scored as well, but does he have a future at the club? Nobody knows. So the summer will tell us who's really going to be getting sold. And I think Lee Griffiths is now, 29? If I'm wrong, somewhere about that age. So he's now coming to his peak years where we either decide, do we let him go to like Hibs or something and ends up haunting us, or do we keep him? And under a new manager, does he become like he was under Rodgers, somebody fit and won't tolerate the stuff at the start of the season when he was unfit and had a bit of a dad bod? It's his choice really if he wants to stay at Celtic, so he's got to buckle under and get his head down. But in the summer there'll be big changes, and that will tell us who will be our number two.
I agree. I think he might keep the same team. As I said before this game, we've not really seen that enough this season, so we've got a wee bit of a 1-1 together now, 3 on the spin, so I wouldn't be surprised if he kept the same team. Chris, we did have that 3 or 4 minute spell that really put the game to bed. First up, it was a penalty, foul on Greg Taylor. I still don't know for the life of me whether it was a penalty or no. Would you make it?
It's one of those things where you'd be really upset if it was given against you, but you want them given for you. But if I'm being wholeheartedly honest, I did not think it was a penalty. No, it's never a penalty. I'm delighted the referee gave it because we've had some penalties given for us this season. In fact, a Yetis one, which he was suspended for 2 games for simulation, was more of a penalty than that one was today. That's just my take on it. But Edouard stepped up and scored for the 5th straight game in a row, which he's never done for Celtic, believe it or not. Never scored for 5 straight games in a row. I know he's had a few penalties in those games, but he's looked much more himself, I would say, recently, which is a great sign. But obviously his penalty made it 2-0, and then bang bang 2 minutes later it's 4-0.
Yeah, it was a great penalty for Edouard as well, smashed it right in the top corner. Callum, the third goal was good. I thought link up between Turnbull, Christie and Rogic, and then Rogic setting up Christie, and it was a lovely finish for Christie, to be fair to him.
It's a brilliant finish. It's the only place that he can really put the ball, because the ball's coming on, the powers and the ball, the pace of the ball, he just sends it the opposite direction, and you see it so many times. It was a lovely finish to go and posting in. I don't know if any of you noticed this, I'll not go too far off it, but in the first half, with the shape that we had, with McGregor playing so far out left and Turnbull so far out right, he actually made a tactical change in the second half, and he drops Turnbull back into the 10 role, which then moves to the right hand side.
I think we're losing you there, mate. Yep. Chris,
I think what Callum was saying was that Lennon did actually make a tactical change, which is not something we've seen very much this season. But it's a great observation by Callum, where that little subtle change did seem to make a little bit of a difference, because I felt we played better in the second half. And like you were saying, Paul, before you passed it to Callum, the build up to that goal was beautiful, and that was an absolutely superb finish by Christie. Opens up his body. He actually bends it around the defender, who's going back to try and clear it off the line. It was a superb finish. Nice to see such quick interlink play. And then immediately after, for the 4th goal, we saw very, very similar link-up play on the edge of the box, leading to the 4th goal.
Yep, and Callum, we'll try again, mate. Just lost you there on the last one. A lovely finish by Turnbull for the 4th.
Aye, it was quite strange how we scored so many goals in such quick succession. St Mirren just kind of collapsed so quickly. But as I was saying, I don't know how much you got that, but with the change of Turnbull in that 10 in the second half, it then opened his game up, and it was very strange when Turnbull came into the team. He played the 10 against Lille, and he kept playing it, and he was the key player to any of our success that we've had. As small as it is, he was the key this season. And he then changes him, puts him back into the 10, and and then the goals start flowing in. He's linked up in a few of them, and I just don't get why he puts McGregor out far left and Turnbull out far right. It doesn't work. We're really missing the width, and it gives St Mirren an opportunity to step up the park, because when we play it out to the fullbacks, there's nobody else in front of them, so they've got to do two jobs: sprint right over and try and get a ball in, but then get back as well, not get caught out. And I just think we miss width so much. So with no wingers, we really struggle when McGregor and Turnbull's games get affected. And tonight shows you the two different halves. That the first half is it just goes by all the players. Like McGregor's a shadow of the player that he has been, that we know he can be, but he's getting played out of the wrong position, which means he becomes an average player in the wrong position. And when he plays his position that we've seen with Turnbull on the 10, he then starts creating and he does what he does. I mean, it's no rocket science. Play people in the right positions and you'll start winning football games. And evidently it showed as soon as he changes them. But as you say, it's a lovely finish for Turnbull as well. And I don't know how many goals that is. Has he got six goals for us? I mean, he's since really January, because we've been asking for a long time for him to play, and really since December, January, he's kicked on leaps and bounds. So he's definitely a player that has to start in that 10 role for me, I would say.
That's definitely where he's done the most damage. He just looks like a totally different player when he's playing in that position. Chris, the last one on tonight, who's your man of the match?
David Turnbull for me. I just felt I know Rogic scored one and made one, but just Turnbull's effectiveness in that 10 role, like Callum says, he's superb. Just a constant probing, looking for that final pass, and the boy can finish. Like, he is the type of player that could get you 15 to 20 goals in that 10 role, and that's really what you need to have a really good front 4 or 3, depending on what formation you're playing. So Turnbull for me was man of the match.
Callum, get your man of the match.
I echo those words exactly. As soon as he was in the 10, he started popping shots off as well, and a lot of shots go on target. They always test the goalkeeper. We've seen Ryan Christie previously just sky them into Rose Ed, so it's good to actually have somebody that can hit the target on quite a few occasions. So I echo the same words as Chris. Man of the match for me.
I'm going to go Rogic. I thought he was really good tonight, Tom Rogic, funnily enough. I might start saying that a lot of players' best Celtic days are by them. See if they start performing like Rogic did tonight. That's all for tonight. Like the video, comment with your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll see you at the weekend for the build-up to St Johnstone. Cheers.